Geeta, where do we, is this several steps backwards or few steps ahead? What happens to that understanding which was reached? Of course, there were no outcomes per se at the Alaska summit.
Well, if you're talking about Russia and the peace process, there's an understanding for now the two leaders to meet, Maria. Unless and until Russia, Ukraine, the presidents, the leadership meets, there can be no forward movement. President Trump might want and wish a peace between the two countries as much as he wants, but the two leaders have to decide on what is it that they want to do. But look, President Putin has been very clear. The White House and the Russian president are speaking in one voice when it comes to Europe. They've cornered Europe, saying that it's Europe that is prolonging the war and does not want it to end. They're still arming Ukraine against Russia instead of pushing them to the negotiating table. The next meeting is yet to happen. But Maria, I have to add what Dr. Tara Karth had said earlier, that China has not ever come out one, like all the other experts are saying, they've completely gone out and supported Pakistan in that entire war or conflict or operation and post-operation conflict with Pakistan, post-operation Sindoor. Apart from that, the Chinese foreign minister, in no uncertain terms, on May 20th, when a question was asked about India and Pahalgam terror attack, said that Pakistan is defending national sovereignty and territorial integrity, and that China will stand by Pakistan. That's an official statement of the Chinese foreign minister. So let's not make any mistake or be in disillusion that China suddenly will not support its ironclad friendship with Pakistan and secure it. That certainly is not going to happen anytime soon.
Okay, Namrata, how do you look at Vladimir Putin's statement with regards to NATO and the role of NATO?
See, when like I differ a bit in the sense that I don't think India and China's position is the same when it comes to, the Ukraine war, because China has, openly supported, Russia when it comes to the Ukraine war, whereas India has criticized the war. It has Prime Minister Modi has very openly said that this is not a time for war. So even internally, if you see in the Chinese in Chinese system, there were like 5 university professors who had written letters saying that we should not support this war that Russia has started with the Ukraine. And yes, Putin's statement welcoming India and China in the efforts, that is fine from a Russian perspective, right? And that is what we India has been attempting when it comes to talking to Zelensky and talking to Russia about the war. And I think Russia's biggest fear, of course, was that Ukraine will be joining NATO. Now, when it comes to Europe, I think. It's not just India that you see these statements coming from President Trump. He's in fact made very strong statements when it comes to Europe and also NATO. Like he said that everybody has to, contribute when it comes to, security. And then second thing is, to me, what I'm looking at when you guys are discussing about, Trump, that he's actually antagonized all the countries that actually stood up to, the Chinese. And somewhere down the line, this is because he wants a deal with President Xi Jinping. And you look at what, and it's not just India, look at what they have done with the Japanese. They have gone back, they decided the tariffs, and then he went back. Then Philippines, then Taiwan, they have totally thrown under the bus, Vietnam, India. So to me, I think when it comes to this, Xi Jinping really like wants a deal, Trump really wants a deal with Xi Jinping. And this whole RIC business also that we are listening, I don't think India should think about RIC right now. It will be that we'll be placing all our eggs in the same basket if we do that.
Yes.
So to me, these optics, to me, like it's just different, then I don't know.
Absolutely. Disagreements are always welcome, ma'am. Would you then say, Professor Shrikant, that this is about Tokyo Tianjin? India will be clubbing the outcomes as that, because Prime Minister Modi arrived in Tianjin after a very successful visit with the Japanese.
I think we are learning from the Chinese practice. Whenever a Chinese president premier visits India, he invariably lands in Islamabad or any other South Asian country like Dhaka when Wen Jiabao, Premier Wen Jiabao came in 2005. President Chiang Zemin came to India and went to Islamabad and addressed their Senate. Likewise, when Wang Yi came last week, 2 weeks ago, he went to both Kabul and Islamabad.
Yes.
So there is that balancing that China practice. So I think we are learning from this process. Prime Minister Modi visited Mongolia during his visit to Beijing in 2015. We are also now sending signals that we can also balance. As the fourth largest economy in the world, we can balance China by these visits. And most important, I think we have some concrete achievements during the Tokyo visit. For example, the Shinkansen R&D, to be transferred to India. $65 billion of investment that Japan promised, in addition to the $120 billion that they have already put on table before. And when we look at the China-India connection, the total Chinese investment in India is just about $8.2 billion. So we know who will contribute to India's rise, and hence the priority given to Japan in this context. But I also wanted to say other things in the Prime Minister's speech. As we hosted the SCO meeting a couple of years ago, we mentioned about startups and DPI, the digital public infrastructure. This was reiterated by the PM. This is very significant because in the overall speech, he mentioned about reform, perform, and transform, which basically would mean that we are focusing on economic growth rates. And SEO also need to look at these economic growth rates from the point of view of
Yes.
the startups and
And if I may
unicorns.
add what he said towards the end or latter part of his speech, where he invited the SCO nations to join in India's growth story. He said, India is on the path of economic development. Please join us, is the message also. Yes, go ahead, Professor Shrikant. Finish your point, sir.
Yes, in the context of the SEO, because many SEO members are actually authoritarian states, there is hardly any democracy in these states, many states. So the mention about the startups is a bottom-up approach rather than top-down approach that many SEO states practice in terms of their economic development. That is, big companies, the state-owned enterprises in the lead in many of the SEO countries. So the startups would provide for a bottom-up approach and a democratic approach. So the Indian position, I think, is to be noted in the context of the economic growth rate, as well as by emphasizing on the startups. When India was the chair of the SEO a couple of years ago, India also mentioned about the Buddhism and tourist related activities related to Buddhist circuits. The Eurasian states are, of course, known for Buddhism, and so India is bringing this factor in the chairpersonship of the SEO before, and that is, I think, quite unique to the Indian stance. Which is generally ignored in the overall, dynamics of the SEO. So
Okay.
I think these two are very important, including
Absolutely.
the DPI,